As we turn back right now to the race for the White House, again on Saturday, Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders won overwhelming victories in Alaska, Washington, and Hawaii, chipping away at frontrunner Hillary Clinton's lead in the race to win the Democratic Party nomination for the White House. Sanders won 73% of the vote in Washington, 71% in Hawaii, 82% in Alaska, all three caucuses. Clinton now has 1,243 pledged delegates to Sanders' 975. So they're about less than 300 delegates apart. In addition, Clinton secured support from an overwhelming number of unelected superdelegates made up from the party establishment, though they could change their allegiance at any point. Joining us now is Erica Andiola, press secretary for Latino outreach for the Bernie Sanders campaign. She's a prominent immigrant rights activist from Arizona, though she's based here in New York through the election. Welcome to Democracy Now!
Thank you for having me.
We had a clip of you on our show in Colorado after Bernie Sanders' win. Can you talk about the significance of this landslide this weekend? The corporate media hardly paid attention.
Of course.
But it was a sweep, a three-state sweep. And they were all three caucuses. Why does Bernie Sanders do so well in these caucus contests?
Of course. Well, see, Bernie, of course, we see in the media when we had Arizona, when we had the previous elections, that we saw that, there was already this narrative that Bernie was done, right? That the campaign was over. Many in D.C. were asking him to drop out. Bernie has said we're going to continue until June. We're still going to fight for the nomination. And Washington was one of those key states that we wanted to see how we were going to do there. And we thought we were going to do very well. And we absolutely did, not only in Washington, but we also did in Alaska and Hawaii. And I think gives us amazing momentum, not only for our campaign, but for our supporters to continue and to push forward until the end.
I mean, in Washington state, party officials estimated more than 200,000 people participated, which was close to the record set in 2008.
Absolutely. The turnout was absolutely amazing. We were getting reports of, people filling up the caucuses. And one of the things that is really, really amazing about our own supporters is that, Bernie supporters are very, very pumped up. They were very excited about going out to caucus. And it's a lot of young people. It's a lot of new voters. And I think for us, that really gives us an advantage at the caucuses, which it helps, right? It's not only people going to cast their ballot, it's people going in there to rally, to go in one side of your candidate and to really make a difference on how, we can turn out that specific precinct.
Can you talk about the significance of what happened in your state of Arizona? You had people waiting online for, say, 5 hours. Many people ended up leaving, older people. And it turning out the massive cutback on polling places in the largest city, Phoenix is in Maricopa County, 200 down to 60. They said they were saving money.
It was very unfortunate, I think, for us. I mean, not only as a campaign, I think we don't know what would have happened if it was different, right? But I think for us, and Bernie said it, it really is a form of voter suppression. It is a form of really, disenfranchising so many voters that are so excited to go out. It was a very, very high turnout. And we ended up seeing 2,000 people lined still around midnight.
Let's go for a moment to Bernie Sanders talking about Arizona.
In the United States of America, democracy is the foundation of our way of life. People should not have to wait 5 hours to vote. And what happened yesterday in Arizona is a disgrace. I hope that every state in this country learns from that and learns how to put together a proper election where people can come in and vote in a timely manner and then go back to work.
Erica Andiola, your response to what he said?
No, it is definitely unfortunate. And I think for us, I mean, I'm from Arizona. I really care about the fact that our people are excited about voting. And we do have a general election coming up. And we're hoping and we're putting out there this message that don't be disencouraged. I know you waited for 5 hours, but this is about fighting back and making sure that we do have voters who are there, who are able to do this faster, not 5 hours.
You're a well-known immigrant rights activist, not just in Arizona, but all over the country. You were undocumented. Your house, you and your mom, was raided. Your mother and your brother were both taken by ICE.
That's right.
And you had to fight to have them released.
That's correct.
Talk about that happening in 2013 and how you ended up working for Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely an eye-opener for me. I've been organizing immigrant rights, in the immigrant rights community for a while now, for a couple of years, but I think that year it was definitely, it came home, right? ICE came to my own home, and I really realized that, it is definitely, I have DACA now, but my family's still vulnerable, and millions of families across the country are still vulnerable. And I think for us is, how can we make sure that we keep families together? And I think one of the amazing parts about working for Bernie was how open he was to see two dreamers. That's me and another, Cesar Vargas, who's from here, from New York, who he was open to bring us and ask us, how do we make a good platform? How do we make sure that our immigration platform is the correct one to keep families together? And we have the best platform right now to make sure that we do that.
Earlier this month, we spoke to Dolores Huerta, the civil rights activist, co-founder of the United Farm Workers of America. She's endorsed Hillary Clinton for president, criticized Bernie Sanders' record on immigration reform.
The Latino community, we are completely in support of Hillary, simply because Bernie just hasn't been there for the Latino community. He had a really good opportunity in 2007 when Senator Ted Kennedy, Hillary Clinton, Senator Durbin from Illinois, when they proposed a good immigration reform bill, and we had all of the momentum behind us at that time because we had all of these marches all over the country for immigration reform, and Bernie, unfortunately, came out against that bill. And
Dolores Huerta, can you respond to this, Erica and Diola?
Absolutely. It's unfortunate that they don't put the entire story out there. And the fact is that this 2007 bill was one of the bills that, yes, a lot of people worked very hard for, but at the end of the day, they did put an amendment there that literally allowed for workers, migrant workers, to be able to be exploited. And one of the things that Bernie has fought for so many years is making sure that workers, whether they're migrant, whether they're undocumented or documented, are treated the way they're supposed to be treated. And the right, as humans, we have the right to make sure that we are paid the fair wages, that we're not under slavery conditions. And he said, if this happens, I'm not going to vote for something like that. He was backed up by LULAC, by many organizations who do support migrant rights workers. And for us, that's exactly the reason why. But guess what? In 2013, he came back again. The bill was much better. He voted for it. And not only that, he has called many, many times to make sure that families continue to be together. Like I said, our plan is making sure that when he gets elected, not only do we continue to push for immigration reform, but that he stops deportations right away, that he stops the rates. And he has asked President Obama over and over again, please stop the rates. Don't do what basically was done in my own home, which is just not right, and we need to stop that.
So you're here in New York. You have flown in. The next major races are Wisconsin, California, and New York here on April 19th. What are your plans? These are absolutely key for Bernie Sanders' success.
For us, it's continuing to excite the community to go out and vote. And here in New York and also in Wisconsin, Wisconsin's going to be a very, very key state for us. And one of the things that we do know is that it is an open primary. It is a state where people can actually register on the spot, so they can go and register to vote there. And for us, turnout is very important. We know that when there's a high turnout, there's a very big possibility of us winning the state. And so we are making sure that we're mobilizing. We have thousands of volunteers across the state. We also have thousands of volunteers across the country who are calling into different states that are key for us. And that has definitely been what has pushed Bernie Sanders forward until June. And we're not gonna stop. It doesn't matter what pundits. It doesn't matter what the establishment tells us. We're going to continue until.
What do you say when people say, "Well, he won in white states," like, for example, they say Washington State?
Right. Well, look, in Washington, we went into Yakima. He's one of the about 45% to 50% of the community there is Latino. Very diverse county. Bernie had a rally there. We had 7,000 people turn out. We ended up winning the county by 75% or 76%. It was amazing turnout. It was also great support that we had. And it's a very diverse community. And so it's unfortunate that there is this narrative now out there. First Alaska was the most diverse state. Now it's not the most diverse state. The reality is that Latinos...
We have to leave it there.
Of course.
I want to thank you for being with us, Erica Andiola. I'm Amy Goodman. Thanks so much for joining us.